Hello to all my friends out there. Hi, you guys. I hope everyone is doing okay. I hate to keep complaining, but it's very hot here. It's like almost midnight and it's still hot here. What I'm doing is I'm conserving all of my utilities. The only time I turn my air on is at night so I can sleep. The rest of the time I just suffer. I'm being cheap. Okay, so I had one of my brilliant ideas, and I thought, wow, if you make 2 pots of food that you can eat for 2 days, and you find 7 of them, you only have to cook 7 times in 2 weeks. So what I've been doing is I've been reducing my amounts of meat because we have a shortage of meat here in town now. As to whether it's a real shortage or not, I'm not sure. So tonight I'm making some Spanish rice. You know, you can buy it in Hamburger Helper, but it's so much tastier if you make it. So I have 1 hamburger patty, and today I was eating the rest of, well, not the rest of it. Sometimes I eat it for 2 or 3 days of the chili mac. So I have 1 hamburger, some onion, and some green pepper. So I want to fry that together. And I want to put some chili flakes in there. It calls for chili powder, but you know, I have a little bit of chili flakes. So I'm using some, I buy these at the dollar store. So out of my green pepper, I took the seeds. Here's my seeds. Let me see if you can see them. And what I've been doing is when I get seeds, I just plant, I hate it when I take these, look, I grew these out of some seeds, some unknown seeds. It looks like it's more than one type seeds. I saved my seeds in like a little jar, and then one day I just thought, well, I'm going to dump them all, and you know, I'm just going to plant them and see what happens. 2 of my plants died, and I felt bad, and I go, wow, you know, this is not good. And I have 1 can of tomatoes that I bought 50% off. But what I did is I ground my tomatoes for just a couple of pulses in the blender. I think it tastes better. And you know, when I buy the canned salsa, I've been doing that too, and it tastes so much better. So now, let's see. I have ground beef and oil. Okay, now on this beef is the Kroger part soy, and one night I didn't fry it in any oil. I just fried the patty, and then I made a little white gravy, and it's blah, it's lousy, but it's good enough for what I need. So 1 pound ground beef, 2 tablespoons vegetable oil, 1 green pepper chopped, 1 onion chopped, 1 pound tomatoes, parsley? I didn't take any parsley out, but I did take some celery. I could hunt over there, but you know, we're just going to have to go without parsley because I have all my spices in baggies. Yeah, you have to be Hercules to get into this stuff. I don't use that much celery, just a little bit in something like this, so I'll put some dry celery in there. I got this at Ralph's. I was at Ralph's today, and what I was really doing in Ralph's is I was looking for toilet paper, because guess what? We don't have any more. Yes. Raw rice, you know, in the old-fashioned Spanish rice, you fried the rice in oil and there was no meat before you started adding tomato sauce and tomato and water. And then you cooked it down. I'm going to add a little chili powder to this. I think it needs a little bit of something. Well, I'm not, because I can't find it, just like why I can't find my salt and pepper. Yes, it does need salt and pepper. It's going to be good. And then, you know, I can eat as much as I want tonight, and then I can eat this tomorrow and the next day, you know, bowls of food. And this is cheap, so if you can find 7 and you eat them 2 days in a row. And so now I have rice. And this is cheap, very cheap. You can add more hamburger if you want to. I just don't want to because I want to go cheap. And we'll get into that in a minute as to why. There's reasons for all these things. This looks really good. The thing to do is now start finding cheaper ways to do things, cheaper ways to get by. Now, don't wait. You know, we don't know how things are, we're still really under self-isolation here. I feel sorry for the hairdressers. I was a hairdresser. Sometimes I think to myself, my God, what would I do? I tell you the truth, I don't like to think about it. All I can say is I hope those hairdressers have husbands with good jobs. Most of the hairdressers I knew didn't have husbands with good jobs. Okay, so big pots of food. The ones I thought of were beans, stews, soup, spaghetti, chili, macaroni and cheese, big pots of gravy with potatoes, bread or rice, and Spanish rice. And this would take you through half a month if you made big batches. That's the way you want to go. You don't want to be running out of food at a time like this. Okay, so you need food and water and gas. Okay, if you have food, then that's going to give you money for gas. And then you need some cash. So if you save money on food, then that's going to give you more cash too. And then in some places you need to make sure you have heat in case the power outage goes out. And then start cutting way down on all utilities as best you can. I had a neighbor who used to turn his utilities off at the breaker switch. And I lived in a bad area, and the only lights they had was Christmas lights, and that was all. And that was no Christmas. That was no country western song either. That was. Glad I don't live there no more. So there's the Spanish rice. And believe me, this Spanish rice is going to be very tasty. And it's made in minutes. Look at that, I just quickly made myself a little bowl of Spanish rice. Okay, so there's still no yeast. Okay, I did a video on if you have some pizza crust mix, you can use that to make some bread starter. You only need a quarter cup, and one of these is 52 cents at Walmart. So after I did this and it was very successful, I thought, why couldn't I just use my bread mix, which all it is bread yeast, sugar. It doesn't even call for salt, but I always put salt and sugar. So what I did today was I mixed up this. All this is 2 cups of wheat flour, because I heard that your wheat flour is a better starter. And I had 1/2 tablespoon yeast, because rolling around in the back of my refrigerator, I had bought this for $1. I can't find them now. So I have 2 cups, so 1 cup is 4 1/4. So this is enough starter for 8 loaves of bread. And let me show you what happened. I just made this today so that I can, and I had a jar, and I found I have one of these lids. Look at this, you guys. The pizza dough works good, but that would be, and what I did was I heated a big pan of water earlier today, and I put a piece of foil and I slipped it into my oven, and then I slipped my quarter cup my starter. Let me give you the recipe in case any of you want to try this. So I had a quarter cup of this mixture of 1/2 tablespoon yeast and 2 cups of wheat flour. I don't see why white wouldn't work. 1/2 tablespoon sugar, 1/4 cup warm water. They say it's best if you use boiled. So what I did is I heated my water to warm, and I added the sugar. Then I added the crust mix, or the flour and yeast, 1/4 cup, to that, and I stirred it really good. I mean, to make sure it was all stirred up, and I had a small potato. Also, if you're going to make fry bread, you need to find baking powder, and if you make your fry bread, oh no, on a grill, you're going to use less oil. So this looks like it's going to be successful, so then I don't have this stuff hanging around my kitchen. You know, tomorrow morning I'm ready to go to make some, I don't want to get it by this plant. Every time I bring my plants in, you know, I get some bugs. But I wanted to demonstrate, if you just save your seeds out of your fruits and vegetables, you know, you're going to be able to generate some plants to grow some food. It's about that time. So I have 4 cups of black tea, and what I've been doing is, it just fits in this mason jar. I'm trying to eat 1/2 a lemon juice per day to get some vitamin C. I buy lemon juice at Dollar Tree, the big ones. Okay, now let's see what happens here. This looks good. I usually go to McDonald's for lunch, but right now I just don't want to eat food out. Forget it. I'm not going to until I feel it's safe. So now let's have a taste. You know, it's really good. I don't really think I needed the chili powder. I control every last bit of food. This is some loose tea I had. I got this rice at the food pantry. I will eat all the food I got there. Okay, so now, oh, and then, you know, I have the oil from Walmart. Okay, so food and water. If you don't have very much money, go to the food banks. And don't let other people tell you what you need. How the hell do they know what you need? And get food as much as you can. Gas and cash. And make sure you can heat your dwelling. And control, cut down on all the utilities. Cut down on everything. So, a bare bones stockpile is rice, beans, vegetables, and fruit. Now, when I went to the food bank, this was the rice I got. When I went to the Senior Resource Center, I got a little pound bag. But for rice and beans, you need 50 pounds per year per person. So rice, beans, canned vegetables, and canned fruit. And then as soon as you can, stockpile flour, sugar, yeast. Can't find yeast right now, but if you can find some pizza bread or bread mix of some sort, then you can use that as a starter. You know, really, I mean, any kind of bread, you know, even frozen bread. You can use a little piece of dough. This has worked really, really well, though. If you can find one package. So flour, sugar, yeast, and salt. And then you need potatoes. There's one small potato. That potato starch is really going to give your bread a nice taste as well. And then baking powder and baking soda in case you have to make fry bread, which is really good. I bought big ones, but the small size that you can find for about $1, that's going to make you a lot of fry bread. Oatmeal, they have big ones at Smart and Final, and milk, because you can make all kinds of things out of oatmeal. In fact, there's a good comment for oatmeal milk. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're watching the China model. So China is ahead of us in this thing. Remember my videos back when with the Chinese? Some of them had masks and some of the smart ones didn't. What are the Chinese doing? Well, they're clearing the shelves off of the grocery store, and it looks like that's what we're doing right now too. And what the Chinese are doing is they're buying rice, wheat, and soybeans, and they're saying what might have caused this is the Vietnamese are not sending them stuff. You know, nobody trusts them. It's not smart to trust them. And so what I expect is a second wave is going to hit. You know, as soon as they opened up their economy, the people went out and they may get a second wave of the coronavirus. So there was no toilet paper, and so I told you it was hot. I found 4 driving around in the heat. I bought these for $1, and I was darn lucky to find these. And then finally I said, screw it, and I bought some big containers of paper towels. You can cut it into toilet paper size if needs be. Yeast, still can't find any yeast, nothing, but I did buy those pizza mixes. It's better than nothing. And meat. My freezer is packed and I can't fit any more meat, but as soon as I eat a piece down, I'm going to put one in. Okay, so now a lot of people are saying, everything is going to be fine, don't worry. So what we want to ask ourselves is, do we expect everything is going to be fine? Do we expect a contraction, a recession, or a depression, or even a famine? So we're looking at manufacturing. We're going to take a look. We don't need some like genius person to tell us what we're seeing here. Manufacturing, retail sales. I was happy Macy's opened back up. I had the impulse to run over there, and then I thought, no, you're not going anywhere. Household income. Is the household incomes down? Well, yeah, if you don't have a job. What I told you, what about all those poor hairdressers? Even when they open back up, they're going to have to, work by appointment only, and hopefully they have customers. Unemployment. We have very high unemployment right now. Gross domestic product. That is all services and products sold. And 70% of the gross domestic product is retail. 70% of the GDP is retail. Stock market. We see the big players pulling out and cashing out for billions of dollars. I'm not even stock market. House prices. Well, it's going to be a problem if people can't work and if they can't make their house payment. And then I added this, and nobody ever has this, and I don't see why not. Credit defaults. Yeah, that hurts everybody. Okay, China market clearing the shelves of rice, wheat, and soy. I have a terrible memory. I have to use the notes because, I don't. All right, now, price gouging. Yes, I have seen price gouging. Let's see if I can find it. I wanted to show you guys my $5 can opener. I needed a can opener. The next cheapest one was 12 bucks. Yes. And I bought 25 masks for $16. But there was 3 of us, so we really didn't get that many masks. Okay, so now I just want to give you guys one more thing. So now, be finding 7 big pots of food. Macaroni and cheese is really good. You can add hamburger to that. You can add hot dogs, fish sticks. Salt pork is $5 for a little piece. You can buy these in $1 portions. The beans are cleaned out. I was able to find some. Flour, for a while there, I couldn't find any flour. Cornmeal, molasses, vinegar, salt pork, $5, and bacon. And then dried apples, raisins, cheese, onions, and this one is the biggie, potatoes. If you have potatoes and you have bread, because sometimes they don't give you bread now the food pantry I did gave us a lot. But when I was taking my friend, not so much. The thing about the pantries, they're not like the food bank. You don't exactly know what you're going to get. You get whatever they give you. And I think they can they can run out. I was really kind of surprised. Before I moved, I donated a lot of food that the Salvation Army can even get low. So you guys want to be thinking about all of this stuff and say, what do I have to do to get myself ready for what's coming? Well, what I think is coming is hard times, and the people that are going to suffer the worst is the poor people. So, find some cheap meals, and the best thing on this is take it one day at a time. I worked in my jobs a lot of times. My jobs were unstable, to say the least, but what I would do is I would cut way back, and that's what I'm doing now. Since this, we've been on self-isolation since March 17th. I have bought very little stuff, just food. I've worked on the stockpile because I'm assuming it's going to get worse, not better, until I see otherwise. Okay, you guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. Nice comments if you possibly can. And God bless you all.